The impending world energy crisis. Yes, it's coming. Fossil fuels make up over 87% of the world's energy consumption. Petroleum, 40%. Coal, 24%. And natural gas is slightly less, around 23%. At 88 million barrels of oil per day. That's how much oil the world is projected to consume in 2008. That's 88 million barrels per day. Comes out to something like over 1,000 barrels per second. Every second. That's a breakneck rate of oil consumption. And with only approximately 4.5% of the world's population, the USA makes up roughly a quarter of global oil consumption. How do we get away from fossil fuels? According to the Energy Information Agency, EIA, the world's oil consumption is expected to increase to over 100 million barrels per day. But it's not yet, it isn't just more demand we need to make up, but what about the decline rates? Depending on who you're talking to, decline rates can vary between 4.5% and 8%. In other words, we'll need to add between 3 to 7 million barrels per day in production just to offset decline. Even if Saudi Arabia is able to produce their target of 12 million barrels per day in 2009, it still won't be enough to make up for production lost. The coming global energy crisis. Yes, it's getting closer every day. How exactly is the world going to increase production of oil? Especially when we can no longer rely on production from the largest oil fields. Out of the 10 largest oil fields in the world, only 2 are expected to increase production over the next decade. Nearly all of the other giant oil fields of the world have peaked or are in serious decline. And the world needs to invest $20 trillion in the next few years to find alternative energy sources. But it doesn't look like that's happening either. No. Big Oil's Disappearing Act. A Shell CEO's shocking email to his employees, which said, "We are experiencing a step change in the growth rate of energy demand due to population growth and economic development, and estimate that after 2015 or sooner, supplies of easy-to-access oil and gas will no longer keep up with demand. As a result, society has no choice but to add other sources of energy, renewables, yes, but also more nuclear power and unconventional fossil fuels such as oil sands." In as short as 16 years or less, companies like Exxon and ConocoPhillips may no longer exist. there's a steady liquidation of the world oil industry. Exxon is buying back about $30 billion of its shares each year. If that continues, Exxon will have repurchased all of its stock very soon. In fact, the Big Five, Exxon, Chevron, BP, ConocoPhillips, and Royal Dutch Shell, are spending more on stock buybacks than they are on finding any new oil. And with oil trading near $100 a barrel and demand ever soaring, why aren't these companies investing every penny they have exploring for more oil? The big oil is preparing for the last days of its existence. The International Energy Agency, IEA, an independent energy watchdog out of France, has reported that the world will have to spend $20 trillion to meet surging energy demand. Yes, the world needs $20 trillion to meet energy demand. $20 trillion is nearly the equivalent of 2 years' worth of U.S. GDP and is roughly 10 times the size of China's stock market. Where are they going to get the money to do that? Anyway, fossil fuels, they're going away. They're running out at a time when there's ever increasing demand for fossil fuels. The world's economies are based on fossil fuels. Yes, something has to give. Something has to change. Change is coming.